Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Weekend Winners in association with BetVictor, where this week we're going to be looking ahead to the epitome of competitive action at Kempton and Warwick, as well as that more Cheltenham Ante-Post angles as well. And we're looking at all of this in the usual company of Declan Rix and Sam Boswell. Dec, for once we have a weekend where we're not slaves to our weather apps, thank God.
Yes, I hope so. Yeah, it looks like we're going to get the go-ahead, which is really nice. I know we had Newcastle and whatnot last weekend, but with Sandown off and Naas off, a lot of the good stuff was off. So, yeah, I nearly switched off and started to go back over the Christmas form.
Yeah, to be fair, we did have enough to go at over the Christmas period anyway to be looking back on. But Sam, didn't stop your nap going in, though. That was very impressive.
Yeah, not an impressive price, though, Kate.
I will take the win at that
yeah,
stage.
I'm not going to get the trumpet out for 1 to 3 shots, but yeah, hands down won nicely. And a big thank you to everyone that got involved in the first week of Boost. We only had your Boost and Declan's Boost for Cheltenham, but both were very popular. We got 3 coming up in the show, and if people can't find them because they're watching on their phones, so they can't scan the QR code, which is a very fair point someone raised, the link will be on the YouTube page.
But we did have another tip last week from Tracey that went in as well, didn't we?
Oh, thank goodness someone managed to get there.
100% strike rate for the two of you, so well done.
And that was a bit of a price, let's be fair.
Oh, well, again, I would take that when we have very limited racing on offer. Thank goodness one then for me actually managed to go in as well. But yeah, hopefully we have more racing to go at then this weekend. And of course, a reminder as ever about that Bet Boost page, atr.com/weekend winners. Now, before we get into the action proper this weekend, a reminder as ever to please do gamble responsibly. Our tips are not guaranteed to win, but we will still do our best to put you in the right direction all the same. Right, on with the racing, because we begin at Kempton. Grade 2 action with a Silviniaco Conti Chase, 4 5-year-olds and over 2 mile, 4.5 furlongs at 2:07. A close contest in the betting here between Banbridge, Pickdorhy and Edwardstone. So, Dec, how do you separate these?
Yeah, just the 5 runners here, but this is a belting little race. Really looking forward to it. 4 of the 5 runners in here are already Grade 1 winners. And what I'm loving about this race is the penalty structure. The respective weights all these horses have to carry means I don't think you can really rule out any of them. I wouldn't be surprised if any of these horses won. Even Janadil on a going day, he'll probably like that better ground. But I'm with Edwardstone. He's up in trip for the first time, but I think he'll probably get a nicely run race. Pickdorhy will likely go forward, I'd imagine, and Banbridge will probably keep him honest. You'd like to see him switching off up in trip because, he can be a little bit gassy, he can be a little bit keen. But look, he's just been a tremendous horse, this fella. Like, his novice chase campaign was just outrageous. I think when you breed horses, this is what you want. Horses who run regularly, consistently and keep progressing, and that's all he did. Then he went on to progress again last season, didn't he? Bolting up in the Tingle Creek. I have to admit, though, I was worried about his comeback this season in the Shloor. I just did not like how he finished out his race. Usually the end of his race is always the strongest, but I think he just clearly needed the race. He closed down John Bon, I think, was he beaten 9.5 lengths at Cheltenham? I think he closed it down to 2 3/4 last time out at Sandown in the Tingle Creek. That is still top-class form. As long as he switches off going up in trip, I think he's the one to beat, to be honest. I'd make him just about favourite, especially as I've always felt that he's a better horse going right-handed.
Yeah, going right-handed. Up in trip, though, now a 10-year-old, Sam. I mean, Dec's selection, he's got enough to have to prove here, in my opinion. But which side of the fence did you fall?
Very much on Team Declan, then, in this case, because Edwardstone, for me, was the bet in the race out of the 3 that were towards the front of the betting. Pickdorhy, I know it's his kind of race, isn't it? It's a bit of a Gold Cup for him, previous winner of it. But last year's renewal, I don't think is anything like this year's renewal, which is much, much better. Banbridge, I just didn't like as favourite. It didn't really sit well with me. So I went round the houses and came back to Edwardstone, who I've always loved as a horse. I've tipped him up. I think I tipped him on this show last year for the Champion Chase at a big price. And he finally goes up in trip. But if you've got question marks about the trip, yes, it's 2 miles 4, but it's going to get his ground as well. If it was heavy, I'd be a bit more concerned. But, that good to soft ground he's going to get, it's not going to feel massively different. Kempton's a track that I don't think necessarily is perfect for him, but he's won at the track before. The unseat, I'm not worried about previous visits there. I kind of just felt Alan King's horse was the one I wanted to be with. Stable form, if you looked at the pure data figure of how many winners they've had, 1 from the last 14 wouldn't be too encouraging, but I think it's 4 seconds from the last 6 runners. So I'm happy enough with that. He ticks loads of boxes. Tom Cannon felt he was just beaten by a superstar, I think were the words used last time. So yeah, Edwardstone's where I came down.
Yeah, he'll be thankful not to be bumping into John Bon again now. And obviously Janet Dillon here will be fortunate not to be bumping into his offer of Allaho. So we've got two horses that have been bumping into the best of them. But you're both getting confused with the Veterans Chase up at Warwick, I feel, because both siding with a 10-year-old here. I'm going with the ever so slightly younger horse, Pictori, a horse who's just never got the credit he deserves. He is the epitome of consistency, of just a solid profile as well. And to be honest, I've probably been a guilty party myself in not giving this horse the credit he really deserves. He's 8 from 16 over fences, 12 from 28 in his career, 2 from 2 at Kempton, winning this race last year by 16 lengths, making all. He's also a Grade 1 winner at Aintree last year from a horse who made that race his own in Fakir Duderi. 5 from 7 in Grade 2s over fences, falling on one of those losses. So he is just solid. He's so consistent, all conditions to suit. Banbridge for me, he's a spring horse. This is his return. And I feel that he's got the bigger targets down the line. For all it's interesting, he's coming over here.
The other thing I noticed as well with Banbridge at Aintree, when he jumped a little bit left as well. So it'll be interesting to see if he does that here around Kempton as well.
Yeah, definitely so. I know he's coming over here, but I feel that he's got bigger targets down the line. But the pair of you two, though, going to stick with Edwardstone. Going to take you on the solid horse for me, Pictori, who I still think I'm getting a fair price about as a result of the other two up there towards the head of the market. But divided opinions then between the lads and I. Do let us know your own selections in the comments section below. Now, before we move on to our next race, if you are enjoying the show, and of course we hope as ever that you are, do remember to subscribe to the At The Races YouTube channel and also hit the bell notification so you never miss an episode. Right, on with the next contest because it is another competitive one, but this time in the handicap sphere, it's the Lanzarote handicap hurdle for 4-year-olds and over 2 mile 5 at 2:42 again at Kempton. Always a likeable race. Sam, really competitive. Who wins?
Yeah, this is a good race and you can make cases for several of them. The each way terms are quite good as well. If you don't fancy the favourite, I went through it trying to get the favourite beat who sits in there at a short enough price, and I didn't like Songagino. When you just look at the previous winners of this race, top weights haven't won it for a while. You know, you really do want something a little bit further down. Nimona Lion, I kind of would be more inclined to back if the ground was just that little bit softer. I think it's come out the last 2 occasions where the ground's been that bit too quick. Up for Parole, been targeted at the race by the team, but I think he's definitely going to want softer ground to be seen at his best. There was a bit of each way money around for him in the week. So yeah, flicking through the race, I ended up back at the favourite, who goes back up in trip, and I know nudged up, I think, another £3 for the effort when second at Ascot just before Christmas. But that was a good run, and obviously Lucia turned the tables from the run in the Greatwood. But this horse still got untapped potential, more to come, I expect. And I felt he's short enough now. Listen, I'd rather be getting a slightly bigger price, but I just think Nicky Henderson, he's won this race 3 times in the last 10 years, I think, off the top of my head. And I felt he's thrown a couple in here. And you wouldn't be surprised to see going back up in trip. This horse has won over 2.5 miles, albeit a small runner field at Ludlow. I felt he'd be well here at home and will go again. And it's a big prize. And I think could just be a few more pounds to come.
Oh, so Nicky Henderson horse then for Sam. Now, I feel that we, Dec, are thinking along the sort of the same lines, but also very different.
Yeah, he's got the right stable, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah, but again, we're feeding that line in,
exactly,
aren't we?
yeah, but he's just got the wrong horse again, yeah. I'm with King Alexander. Like, I love the way we've gone from a 5-runner Silviniaco Conti Chase to a 19-runner handicap here. We're absolute glutton for punishment.
The fluid transition.
Exactly, yeah. Just in terms of pace, I didn't see a lot of pace in the race. I think Up for Parole could get a little bit of a freebie on the front end. There's maybe a handful of horses who like to track the pace, so it could be kind of a tactical enough Lanzarote on decent ground. That's how I'm picturing it. And I think that's really going to suit my selection, who is King Alexander. This horse only really came onto my radar last time out at Exeter, because I think he kind of had been a summer horse beforehand, but geez, I loved what he did at Exeter. He was so good. He just looked like a horse in rude health, has returned in great order. The way he travelled, the ease at which he did everything, and his jumping was just super slick and quick. Loved everything about it. The other thing as well, he was a big drifter in the betting that day. I think Nicky Henderson and the team were really worried about the ground at Exeter for him. So getting back to Kempton on a much slicker surface is going to be a big positive for him. Look, he's £10 higher now, and this is a much better race, but he's only had 8 career starts, and there's a lot to like about him. He does go a little bit up in trip, but he's actually bred on the same cross as Penhill, who won the Stayers Hurdle. He's by Mount Nelson out of a High Chaparral mare, so going up a little bit in trip, I hope won't inconvenience him, especially as I'm hoping it's going to be a tactical run race on nice ground. Nicky Henderson has won 2 of the last 10 renewals, and he's also had Call Me Lord place in the race. So yeah, hopefully for a royalish winner in King Alexander.
Yes, definitely so. I do like it when you come up with some sort of pedigree stat. Sam and I both make the same high-pitched agreement murmur there, but I'm not entirely sure what noise we made, but it's definitely in agreement anyway, and I'm in further agreement with you.
Go on, Kate and Tracey.
Yeah, finally, I know you two teamed up for the first race. Now it's Dec and I's turn this time around to take you on then, Sam. Nicky Henderson horses towards the 4, but King Alexander for me as well. That solid strike rate in his very lightly raced career already anyway. 4 from 8 so far, and a winner of his sole start this season, as you've just said, Dec, at Exeter. It was a comfortable one, under top weight as well. He does have a good record fresh, as we know, but I'm pleased therefore to see that he's got the freshen up for this time around. £10 higher mark to have to contend with, as you say, but I just feel that he's going to progress into being a really top-notcher then this season. 2 from 2 in his completed handicap starts, falling on the other occasion when he was probably booked for 3rd, admittedly, but last time out, that was a career best from him that he can hopefully continue to progress from. So King Alexander for us too.
Yeah, just I would say I did have to go back and read a stable tour. Nicky Henderson was quite sweet on this horse at the start of the season before he ever ran, which I just thought I'd point out. But I should have done it the other way around. To finish on a negative, I should have finished on a positive. The only thing I would say, and as you said to me in the office, when he did win at Exeter, he did beat 2 real staying types. So this is going to be more of a kind of a tougher race for him. But I like him. There was something visually about him that really kind of captivated the two of us, I think, wasn't there?
Oh, 100%, yeah. So, yeah, we've made further claims then for King Alexander, but you are happy to stick with Impostoir.
Yeah, sorry, your arguments haven't swayed me.
Maybe we can get a price on Nicky Henderson winning the race for viewers.
There you go. There's a way to do it. Yeah, we'll get Sam and the lads then on that one. I don't know if we're going to be getting much of one, but even so, we'll try and push our luck as best we can. Again, do let us know your own selections in the comment section below. Now, further competitive handicap action up now, because we are heading up to Warwick for the classic chase, of course, a premier handicap chase for 5 rods and over 3 mile 5 at 3 o'clock. Where super competitive, the betting obviously headed by Gavin Cromwell's Melina Girl. But Tech, which one of these stays best of all?
I'm actually with a horse I think you've put up a couple of times in the show earlier in the season, and she's run really well. I like Credo here. She's just been in good order this season. She's returning great form. You know, her form figures this season read 1, 2, 3. But she's a mare who does a lot right. She's got solid jumping and she travels. And I think Warwick is always a track that you need a little bit of toe around, don't you, just to hold your place, especially down the back straight there when all those fences come up quickly. She just looks in good order with herself this year, and there was a couple of horses there to the front of the market. I was with Manila Girl last time out, who obviously would have bolted up if she stood up, talking through my pocket there. But she's quite a small horse and she's got to lumber top weight, but I just thought it was against her, but she's going to have an outstanding chance. And I would just touch on Major Dundee. I have been itching to see this guy get some first-time headgear on him, and he finally gets that here. But he's just a horse who's lazy in races behind the bridle. I thought a more galloping trap could have suited him. But if the headgear lights him up and he travels through his race a lot better, he'll go well. But at the prices, I think she's 14 or 16 to 1. I'll take a chance with Katie Tracey's Owl Mucker, Credo.
She is. I know she won 3 starts ago. She's placed on her last 2 occasions. Guess which 2 of the 3 starts Kate sided with her on. Not the win, just to give it away. But I wish you all the best anyway. I'm going to abandon her here, though, on this occasion. And I'm going with Gutapan Collonge in here, because I still don't think we've seen the best of him in the staying chase ranks this year. And again, he's another one who I really hope will establish himself as one of the best in the country. Now, of course, he was sent off as favourite in the Midlands Grand National last season on his final start, but he still ran really well to finish 4th, made that winning return at Carlisle. That was a career best from him, under 12 stone as well in a competitive contest, and probably not at a trip that saw him at his best over 3 miles either. Then to Cheltenham last time out, ran an equally good race, went 3rd in a Premier Handicap chase. Now, that was over 3 mile, 3.5 furlongs behind the reopposing Melina Girl, off of a £7 higher mark, but the same mark this time round, more to offer, a freshen up. I think he can be reversing that form, Sam.
Declan, was a little bit right at the start.
A little bit right, he'll take that.
Melina's Girl would have won. I think I might agree with you on that. And that's why I've sided with her here off the same mark. I don't like backing horses off a full. And the other negative I'd say is her run style. Will it suit Warwick, where you might want to be a bit more in front for the chasers? That's the two things I've got my concerns about. I'm not so bothered about top weight. She was running a great race under top weight last time out. She's won at Cheltenham early in the season. Gavin Cromwell, we know how good he is as a trainer, especially, yes, his Cheltenham runners do well, but if you look at anything he sends over to the UK, he has a fairly decent strike rate with, and has continued to just progress as a trainer this season into very smart target trainer. This horse will possibly have Grand National aspirations, as will a few in the lineup, I suppose, when you look at previous winners and horses that have run well here. I just kept coming back to her at the head of the betting. I know she's a short enough price, but Major Dundee, I can't go back there yet.
A Scorpion, first time headgear.
He's very straightforward, to be fair, for a Scorpion.
For a Scorpion.
But
add that caveat.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. He's not in the might bite category just yet, anyway.
I've decided he might win the Scottish National, I think, later on in the season. I just wonder if maybe that's a target that I can warm to that horse for that.
Yeah.
But on this occasion,
he's just lazy, isn't he? And Warwick, I think you need to be on the bit. You need to travel, because you could see the race just getting away from him when the taps are turned on and then running on really strongly. But maybe he might go back to the Midlands Grand National again. That could be another race for him. But possibly. We digress.
We do. And my horse has won at Downpatrick. If you can win at Downpatrick, I think you can win anywhere, no matter what your run style is, because she came from off the pace there, and the stiff uphill finish is certainly something to behold. Warwick's a different type of track, but I think Coniston Walsh is well worth his 5 as well. He's a very smart rider. Not seen too much of him over jumps, but he will certainly be a name I think that will crop up a few times throughout the season.
Yeah, I mean, his strike rate when he started going over obstacles, Coniston Walsh, from the flat was unbelievable, wasn't it? Like his first two rides.
He won his first chase race, anyway, didn't he?
And I think his first hurdle as well. I'm willing to be corrected on that, but he really sort of burst onto the jump scene then, didn't he? So you got the right man on board. Your mark hasn't been changed. Melina Girl then for Sam Deck.
It is going to be the girl Credo for me, please.
Credo, so 2 mares and Ferravito, and I'm going to go Gutapan Collonge therefore. Right, that's for Classic Chase, done and dusted again. Do let us know your own selections in the comment section below as we head over to the Sky Pad to give you more Cheltenham Ante-Post angles as well as our best bets for the weekend. Now, our new weekly feature where we take aim at plenty of the Cheltenham Festival races with our Ante-Post angles. So, Sam, new week, new angles to go at. What's the play?
Yeah, good news. Last week's are still up there. Yours was very popular, Kate, but Dex was even more popular. So those two are still on site. Get them while you can, but we've got 3 more to add this week. And I'm going to kick off putting my finger in the air and trying a bit of Willie Mullins bingo this week, Kate, which I am absolutely terrified of. But I think there's a bit of an angle with Blood Destiny here, who is a fascinating horse. If we just take a stroll back and review the horse last year over hurdles, 2 successful starts before heading to the Cheltenham Festival, where was sent off nearly favourite against the stablemate that won the race. He ran just far too free and blew his chance at Cheltenham. And I think Cheltenham, that first visit, just kind of blew his mind a little bit. He was just a bit too free. Then finished second at the Punchestown Festival over hurdles, which was a respectable enough run. This season, I think Paul Townend's comments about this horse after he won at Fairyhouse on Chase debut are so significant. I'll just give you a bit of a flavour of them, which was Paul Townend said, they kept pushing me, they kept trying to light me up. He was very dynamic and he just felt like a real chaser. You know, it was very, you could tell, it was very strange to see a rider from Willie Mullins give so much away, which is what I love to see about this horse. The good news is, I'm tipping him for the shorter trip and coming back in trip. Mullins has got plenty of history suggesting he does this with horses. Duke de Duenier's dropped back in trip to go and win the Arkle. I'm going to tip this horse for the Arkle. I think you're getting a really big price. I know we've got a strong favourite in there, but Willie Mullins will want to run something there. I don't think it's going to be Facile Vega. I think there's plenty of other options. For me, I'm all about Blood Destiny, boosted to 14-1 from 10-1 to win the Arkle. We've got possibly the chance of seeing him over 2 mile 3 at Punchestown, which for me won't rule anything out if he goes there on Sunday. Hopefully he goes and wins at the DRF over 2 mile 1, but we shall see. And even if he runs over 2 mile 5, I don't think this bet will be dead, depending on what happens.
He's such an accurate jumper, isn't he, as well? Touch wood anyway. And as you could just see on screen there, the boost there. Sam's joining in on the boost this time around, which he's delighted
Let
about.
Let him have one, Kate, which is great news.
Yeah, Finally then. So make sure you utilise the QR code that was on the screen there or the link in the YouTube description should you prefer that option. Right, Sam makes a good case, Dec. Match that.
Yes, we'll try our best. Spent last week kind of trying to catch up with all the Christmas form. I went through the King George properly and the Savills and whatnot. And I came down. I didn't want to. I think the Gold Cup is basically about Galopin Des Champs and fast or slow. On what we know so far, you know, Shishkin hasn't come out of the race too well since. He's banged his leg. You know, is that going to interrupt his prep? Brave Man's Game doesn't look the same horse to me. You know, we could talk maybe about Long Press next week, who returns at Linkfield. But I just thought at the prices, I wanted to get faster, slow on side now at the moment. Now, he didn't run over Christmas, but, you know, the form at Galopin Des Champs just looks really solid now. He was obviously second at the Cheltenham Festival last year in the Ultima of 150, beaten by Korat Rambler, giving him weight. That form was franked. He then went to the Punchestown Gold Cup and beat Galopin Des Champs and Brave Man's Game. And he confirmed the form again with Galopin Des Champs in the John Durkin, didn't he? Now, look, now for once, I don't think he's bumped into the real Galopin Des Champs yet. I think that is fair to say. But Galopin was so good over Christmas. You do wonder maybe, is there a small chance that he's not left the Gold Cup behind, but it's going to take a good trainer performance from Willie Mullins to get him in that same kind of order. Fast or Slow, on the other hand, is a fresh horse. You know, I like his profile for the race. He's only had 13 starts. Martin Brazil's kind of a small trainer, if you will. He's already won a Grand National, but he really knows what he's doing. And I love the fact they're eyeing up the 2 Mile 1 race at the Dublin Racing Festival as a prep. So I thought potentially Galopin could you know, not be as good next time out at the Dublin Racing Festival, and this guy could maybe beat him again. I just thought I wanted to get Fast or Slow on side, so yeah, it'll be him for me at the moment.
Oh, look at that 5-1 about a horse that has beaten the reigning Gold Cup champion and short price favourite as well. Fast or Slow on the screen there for Dec's Bet Boost. Now, I've gone at the other end then of the horse scale because I've gone for the juveniles into the Triumph Hurdle. And a horse who just hasn't really moved all that much in the market in comparison to what I was expecting was Storm Heart. Now, we're going to do a lot of potential learning about the juveniles this weekend. We have the race at Kempton on the first race on Saturday, but we're not going to get to see Sergino in that. He might have gone for it, but he's actually not going to take up the engagement. But regardless if anything comes out and bolts up, I don't think it's going to contract or push out his price from about 6-1 now anyway. But this has been sort of a slow burner, I feel, for the juvenile ranks this season, where we haven't really seen one that's really burst onto the scene and punched us in the face, basically, for a horse to back. The only horse that's done that for me has been Storm Heart. Yet it hasn't really reflected in his Ante-Post price. So obviously, hopefully we'll get to see that again from him. The RPR he posted on that hurdle debut was 132. So Gino was only 125. Burdett Road, he's been 119 and 133 so far. So Storm Heart's already up there. Burdett Road still does enough wrong. Hopefully we'll get to see more of that then from Storm Heart going forwards for the Triumph Hurdle. And he is going to be my one that we're going to be boosting 6-1 to 15-2. I will happily take that all day, and especially if he comes out next time out and does very similar to what he did last time. Then that is ideal for me. Right, that is a look ahead to the Cheltenham Festival. Now, more immediate future, this weekend's best bets. Dec, take it away.
Yes, weekend winners. Going to start the nap this week with Edwardstone. We've already discussed him. Look, he's going up in trip for the first time. I think his form this season still means he should be favoured. The trip, as we said, is the big thing, but look, he's bred to get the trip, and he actually has run well in a handicap hurdle over 2 Mile Forward entry earlier in his career, and he's a much better horse. The next best, we're going to go to Warwick, and it's the lovely Grey Dawning.
He is lovely.
This guy has really taken to chasing well, although that's a bit counterintuitive because he made a very bad mistake 2 out last time out at Cheltenham. I thought without that mistake he would have won. He is a horse that jumps to his left a little bit, so I'm hoping Warwick will suit him. I just need Harry Skelton to ride him with loads of confidence because he's going up in trip and there looks to be a good bit of pace in the race. It could turn into a bit of a slog, but I hope Harry will ride him with loads of ability, like he's the best horse in the race, and utilise that change of foot and turn of pace late. And then the long shot, we're going to go to the Classic Chase again at Warwick. I thought Rapper could go well. Now, he pulled up in his seasonal debut with an irregular heartbeat, but he bounced back to form last time out at Cheltenham, and he just looked like a horse who's in really good form with himself at the moment. He jumped well, he travelled well. That day he bumped into the likes of Broadway Bob, Protectorat and that. He's not going to meet the same kind of competition here. Alice Stevens, who obviously did well with Sean Clonbrad early in the season over the national fences. She takes £5 off his back to ease the burden as well. And he's a horse, I think, that'll travel to the race better than most, especially the likes of Major Dundee and whatnot. So I thought for the Henry Daly team, whose horses are generally running well, he could go well at a nice price.
Poor old Major Dundee. We've absolutely slated him.
He bolts up now.
Yeah, he bolts up. All three of us have in some way been disparaging about him, and now we've not. None of us have even gone anywhere close to tipping him. But yeah. Anyway, Major Dundee, he's not in Deck's best bets. Anyway, Sam, is he in yours?
No, he's not. But one of Dex's as well, which we'll come to on my next best. But I'm going to kick off with my nap. This is a really, really interesting card up at Wetherby. I thought Jamie Snowden's placed Colonel Harry really well, though, because this Grade 2 race does look significantly easier than the Grade 1 he contested last time out at Sandown. I was lucky enough to pop into Jamie's in the week. The horse looked really well. Shout out to his team who are doing their best in absolutely freezing cold conditions. You won't catch me ever working in a horse racing yard. I'm not built for it, but they are, and they've produced some nice horses so far this season. Colonel Harry, I still think he will be up there in the better novices from this side of the sea over fences. He's going to have to go and win this, really. He's entitled to do so in 4 to 5, I thought was about right. Edward Stone, we touched on. Brilliant horse. Looking forward to seeing him go up in trip. Hope Deck's right on his nap because he's my next best. Teddy Blue, this is a little bit of a shot in the dark for the long shot, going for the complete outsider in this race, which is a very competitive handicap. However, off a mark of 1.32, he's placed in a Swinton. He's run second in a good competitive handicap at Newbury as well. Caelan Quinn's having a fantastic time of things at the moment, and the Moore team are flying with a 25% strike rate. So I just felt he was kind of a bit of a price-sensitive one. We'll be paying an extra place or two on the race, so that's why at 40 to 1, I thought he was worth a dart.
This is like the dream weekend, really, isn't it? Because we've got horses we can be confident about, we've got some nice prices, and we've got no end of opportunities for long shots as well. But my nap, I'm going to take on the pair of you two of your selection because it's going to be Pic D'Orhy. I'm on my own in this in comparison to the lads, but Pic D'Orhy in the Silviniaco Conti Chase for all of the aforementioned reasons. A solid horse, all conditions to suit. A race he won last year. Yes, it's more competitive this time around, but he's still just such an underappreciated horse who's far more likely than not to give his running. Now, I'm hoping my next best bet, Latitude, will show the best of the attitudes that he's been showing of late. He can go forwards, will prove difficult to catch in the 1:30 at Kempton, that 3-mile handicap chase. We know that front running tactics do suit here. It almost came to full effect then at Ludlow last time out, another front runner bias track on the chase course. But I love this lad's attitude when he rallied in the soft ground, only beaten half a length, a £1 rise and back over a course and distance he signed off last season with. And the run then when he managed to win, that was plenty good enough to be winning this off of this mark for an informed team of Mel Rowley. And then my long shot, I'm also going in the Lanzarote. That is Hermino at 16 to 1 for the Gary Moore yard, obviously with David Noonan taking the ride. So hopefully these two can team up to yet another big Saturday success. A horse that hated fences, much happier back over hurdles. And I'm also not expecting the drop back down in trip to inconvenience him. I think he's more of a 2.5 miler than a 3 miler anyway. So Hermino.
We got a horse to follow off Jamie Moore at the start of the season. This is the horse he put up.
Was
and
it
he
him?
suggested that he could be one of the best that the yard has ever had.
Oh, wow.
Things haven't gone to plan, obviously, but they clearly like him. But best luck with him.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, I didn't actually know that, so that is ideal. Thanks for that, Dave. That's exactly why we've got you here.
I've heard about theraces.com.
I need to utilise it more, and so should you at home. We've given you the website link enough times there as well. But, of course, all of those features and interviews there for you to enjoy. But that is everything from us on this week's show. A big thank you to Deck and Sam for all of their hard work, as per usual. A big thank you to you at home for watching. We'll be back at the same time again next week to preview the Clarence House Chase at Ascot, as well as the Winter Million Festival.